This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, November 5th. Please stand for our invocation led by Pastor Everett Thomas, New Generation Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day and what it's meant to us thus far. We come boldly before your throne of grace to obtain mercy and to find help in our time of need. And Father, we thank you for assembling us for such an occasion as this. We ask your blessings upon this meeting. God, thank you for the honor to be called Mobilians, and we pray for the mayor of this city, as well as this council that's represented here today. And God, we thank you that all things in this meeting will be done decently and in order for your glory, for the gain of others, and for our growth. We do love you. We give you all praise, honor, and glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, President Manzi.
Here.
Vice President Small.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning. Good morning. We first ask that you would turn off or silence all of your electronic devices upon entering this session. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, we ask that the speaker state clearly his or her name and address for the record. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office on the Thursday preceding the Tuesday in which you'd like to speak by 2 p.m. We require that all of your commentary be pertinent to City of Mobile business. Anyone who doesn't follow those instructions, unfortunately, will not be allowed to speak. Each speaker is granted 5 minutes. At the end of 4 minutes, you'll hear a bell. That's indicative of you having 60 seconds to wrap up your commentary. At the end of that second bell, we're going to ask them to expeditiously take your seat. When addressing the council, there's to be no individual commentary addressed to any individual council member. All statements, inquiries ought to be made to me, who serves as chair. And any council member who wishes to respond will have that opportunity. And this one is very important. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause or public outcry allowed. If that occurs, we will bring that to your attention. And then if that works, we have some uniformed individuals who will be able to assist you further. Those are the rules of the council. Thank you for your interest in your municipal government. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of October 30th.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Great job as always.
Communications to Mayor.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody here this morning. I just have 2 items that I would like to, one I'll inform you of, the other discuss just for a moment. The first one, I'll just apprise you that in 2014, I had the opportunity to participate in a meeting of the mayors of the 5 largest cities in the state of Alabama. Prior to that, the mayors of the 5 largest cities had never gotten together to really share information. And since that initial meeting, we have met almost quarterly over that ensuing time. This weekend, I had the opportunity to host them, but we've changed the organization, and it got dubbed the Big Five. And as we started entering into opportunities and issues that addressed all of the 5 largest cities, we realized that There was another group that were also impacted the same way we were. They had the same issues and same opportunities, and that was the next 5. So last time we met, Mayor Woodfin in Birmingham, he coined the term that we're going to now be the Big 5 plus 5. So today it's the 10 largest cities in the state, and so we spent Sunday afternoon and Monday morning talking about public safety and the things that we can do to collaborate, things that we maybe need to do to address our state legislature in order to achieve a better outcome for not just those cities, the 10 largest cities, but all of the cities in the state of Alabama. So very informative meeting, and I look forward to continuing that and to continue to try to find best practices and share ideas so that we can do a better job serving you. The next item is that earlier this morning at the pre-council meeting, at the urging of several people who have been involved in government prior to me being involved in it, was suggesting that we try to slow down this process of the annexation. And with that in mind, we approached the President Manzi and the City Council and asked them to delay or to hold over the vote on the annexation for 2 weeks. And during that 2 weeks time period, the hope is that we can dispel a lot of the misinformation that has permeated throughout the community over the last couple of weeks. So during this period of time, you will see us engaged with various groups trying to ensure that the facts of the matter are understood better and that we can clear the air of some of the misinformation. So I'm hopeful today that we will have the necessary votes to hold it over. So thank you very much.
We have some presentations from various members of the council, Mr. Williams, and then Ms. Rich, and then Mr. Daves and myself.
Mr. Chairman, from the Tillman's Corner area of the Southwest Mobile County area chamber program called TALL, T-A-L-L. It's an annual program that I think is just simply outstanding, and I have been a supporter of since its beginning. We are fortunate to have 6 of the 7 students that were selected to be a part of this program today with us. They have spent since 8 o'clock this morning here in City Hall, either with me or in pre-council, or even had the opportunity to go to the mayor's office and speak with him privately for a few minutes. It's our pleasure to have them. I'm going to ask them each to come to the podium, tell us a little bit about themselves, and then we're going to take a photograph if the president would permit. Thank you.
My name is Kennedy McCaskey. I attend Baker High School. After graduating, I plan on attending Xavier University of Louisiana and majoring in biology pre-med.
My name is Carson Rose. I attend Baker High School also. And after I graduate, I'm in Auburn University and major in chemical engineering.
Speaking that mic now.
Good morning. I'm Jacoby Forrest. I attend Theodore High School, and after graduation, I hope to attend Alabama State University, major in business and minor in marketing.
I'm Elizabeth Bryson. I go to Cottage Hill Christian Academy. I plan to attend the University of South Alabama and gain a business administration degree.
My name is Ann Morgan Swearingen. I attend Cottage Hill Christian Academy. I plan to attend the University of South Alabama and attain a business degree.
My name is Caitlin Johnson. I also go to Cottage Hill Christian Academy. I plan to go to Southern Miss to pursue a degree in audiology.
Awesome.
Terrific.
Come on up.
And Mr. Williams, we see tall written on their shirt, and you mentioned tall, and that has nothing to do with height. So can you explain what that stands for?
Help me, Ms. Peru. Learning leadership.
Tillman's Corner area learning leadership.
We're going to stay seated. Y'all just find a split.
We can all scooch down a little bit. Yeah, that's all.
Scoot down. Thank you. Wait 1 minute, please.
Official camera. Go good. Very good.
You gonna stay there for a while?
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to introduce Quilts of Valor, which was a program that started in 2003 when Catherine Roberts, who had a son in the military, envisioned wrapping each veteran in a healing quilt. And with us today are individuals that are very instrumental in Quilts of Valor. I will introduce Joyce Davis-Reed, who is with us. And I know she has somebody else with her and anyone else who's coming down. We have 2 recipients. This has been done around Veterans Day for a police and firefighter or paramedic in our city system to be honored with their quilts. And I'll just let Joyce take it from there.
Thank you. Appreciate you inviting me here today. Our mission statement for Quilts of Valor, and I represent the Stars Over Mobile chapter of Quilts of Valor in Alabama. Our purpose is to cover all those service members and veterans touched by war with comforting and healing Quilts of Valor. As Beth said, the idea began in 2003 when Catherine Roberts, the founder, had a son, Nat, deployed in Iraq. In her dream, she had literally a dream. She dreamed that a veteran was sitting on the side of his bed in the middle of the night, hunched over, seemingly in despair. But in the next scene, she saw him wrapped in a quilt. His whole demeanor had changed to one of hope and well-being, and the message she got was that quilts equal healing. She sent her son a quilt, and it was so well received that she began to plan. She sent one to Walter Reed Medical Center to an injured vet, and it was so well received that she were their friends and said, let's get this going. And she dreamed that maybe a volunteer team could take their time and materials to make a quilt. Some of them would piece, and that's just make the top portion of the quilt. Others would make the sandwich or put the batting and the backing together and do the stitches that hold the 3 layers together, and still others would put the edge around it called the binding. And through the power of word of mouth and the internet, this has become an international project. By 2005, it was a nonprofit foundation with a board of directors and a structure of volunteers. Each state has a coordinator and various local chapters. The quilts awarded last week in our nation were 681 in number. And so far this year, we've awarded over 22,000, and a grand total so far of 233,218. Last year, we did almost 100 in Mobile, and this year, our group alone, not counting what Sassy Stitchers does at Connie Hudson Center, will do about 80 quilts, and they do a 20, typically. Today, veterans who receive quilts say that they no longer need their medicines to sleep night. They can sleep well without the medicine. And after his death, a spouse finds healing and warmth in the quilt that he's left behind. And those with PTSD are now finding healing as they make quilts for others to bring them healing. So I met a vet this week. It's a big quilt show in Houston. He did a quilt that depicted the Iwo Jima statue. 110 inches by 110 inches, every square finished 1 inch. So it's like 12,100 little pieces of fabric sewn together, and you would swear you were looking at the statue when you looked at his quilt. And he said, this is what brings him peace. the fact that he can do things like this to make other veterans feel better from their PTSD. So today, we'd like to honor Michael Wachowski, who served in the United States Air Force for 33 years, and during some of that time with Operation Southern Watch in the Middle East. He's now continuing his service to history via the Mobile Fire Rescue Department. He could not be here today, but his boss is, and will receive his quilt for him and take it back. You're welcome. Rotate it around so everybody can see the patterns.
Yeah. Lisa?
And typically, we do wrap the veteran receiving the quilt. But he'll go through the process so you can see what we typically do.
No, I don't have it. Lisa, City Clerk, Ms. Lambert, can we get a picture?
Normally, we are just doing 2 here. We will do 2
Thank
at the
you.
county commission meeting at the end of the month, and we will award 30 other quilts at various locations throughout the months of November and December to finish out our year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, for a picture today.
Hey, Chief.
Joyce, hang on one second. Can you turn, and we'd like to get a picture of the presentation. I'm sorry. You want
me to do it like
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for standing in.
Awesome.
Thank you, Keith.
All right.
And we're going to
We also honor today Donald Booth, who served in the U.S. Navy for 19 years as a Chief Petty Officer. He's been with the Mobile City Police Department for the past 3 years. We thank both of these men for the freedoms we enjoy and the time they have given serving their country.
Oh, wow. That bad boy. Wow.
Terrific.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you both for your service. Thank you, ladies.
And they are a nonprofit organization that receives donations from any other nonprofit or anybody for that matter. And so if you need to find out how to donate, you simply contact one of our offices and we'll be happy to help you with that.
On that note, the council today will approve discretionary funds to go to Quilts of Valor.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for this great service. Mr. Davis?
I'd like to ask Ms. Michelle Dubose Adams, principal of Eishold Mertz School of Math and Science, to step forward and join us on the dais.
Good morning.
Would you mind coming up here?
Yes. Big national awards, you need to come on up here.
I'm going to read this sitting down. My manual dexterity is what it used to be, and to hold the proclamation and the microphone at the same time might be a little challenging. As we join today to congratulate Ms. Michelle Dubose Adams, principal of Eishold Mertz School of Math and Science, as a recipient of the Terrell H. Bell Award for Outstanding School Leadership. And whereas she was one of 10 recipients out of nearly 400 competing in the National Blue Ribbon Schools. And whereas Ms. Adams was selected for this prestigious award as a result of her work leading the transformation of Eicholt Mertz into a high-performing elementary magnet school of choice over the past 12 years. And whereas the entire school community, including students, parents, administrators, and faculty, have right given her the nickname Wonder Woman in a pantsuit. And whereas the Terrell H. Bell Award named for the second U.S. Secretary of Education honors school principals for their outstanding work and the vital role they play in guiding their students and schools to excellence, frequently under challenging circumstances. And whereas the award is part of the National Blue Ribbon Schools program, in which principals are nominated by their school communities during the final stages of the National Blue Ribbon Schools application process. And whereas Ms. Michelle DuBose Adams will be honored next week during the Blue Ribbon Schools ceremony in Washington, D.C. Now, therefore, I, Levon Manzi, Council President, along with Joel Daves, Council Member District 5, and the members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, November 5th, 2019, as Michelle DuBose Adams Day in Mobile, and urge all of our citizens to join us in this momentous occasion.
Let's move chairs out and we'll kind of tighten up.
And Michelle, if you will stand up.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
All right. We want this Wonder Woman right up front. All right.
Thank you.
And I think that's a proud husband.
Wow. After these presentations, I don't know. I can remember Principal Adams from when she was over at Chickasaw School. And Chickasaw pulled out, and then we brought him over to Eicholt Mertz during my term over there on the school board. And if I had $1 for every time I heard her name and how well she was performing and how we wished that we could replicate her success all over the county, I could retire to Hawaii. I really could. She is an outstanding administrative and educational leader, and I'm proud that she's in this city. And I know I'm not going to speak for Joel. I'm going to stop speaking now. I could go on and on about her because she does such a great job. And I wish we had 100 more of her. And we're glad that we do have her, and we appreciate all that you do. And congratulations on this honor.
And I would just like to add that I have been to Eicholt Mertz, and I've been to the few other really top performing schools we have in the Mobile County school system. And I can tell you, you know it's a top performing school when you walk in the front door. When you walk in the front door, you can just tell there's an electricity, the place is clean, immaculate, fun, obviously a great place for the kids to be. And it starts at the top. Thank you very much for everything you do.
Mr. President,
Mr.
I
Small?
do concur with you and also with Councilman Joe Days. Visit Mertz Elementary several times. I even had some district meetings there. Very blessed school it is. I mean, they even have rabbits over there, the gardens over there. But one thing that that she asking the city for is some sidewalks. So Councilman Days, District 3 and District 5 split up Pleasant Valley Road. Am I kidding? And then all thing she had me about is sidewalks up and down Pleasant Valley because of the safety of her kids. So, you know, it's my determination, you know, to work with Councilman Days, which splits half of Pleasant Valley Road, along with the administration. But we can try to get some sidewalks on Pleasant Valley Road one day for the safety of those kids.
That's right. That's right. I believe those two capable leaders can get it done, Principal Adams. They can get it done. They can get it done. But before we move any further, I want to recognize all of these elected officials that are here. I'd be remiss if we didn't. We've got former City Council President Clint L. Johnson. If you would raise your hand, Doc, glad to see you. Our State Senator Vivian Figures. Also former council member, I'm sorry, former District 1 council member. And then we have my state representative. Where's my state representative? Adeline Clark, right there. We have the fabulous Representative Barbara Drummond. And bringing up the rear, we have, no, I'm sorry. Pardon me. Former city mayor and state representative Samuel Jones. Mr. Mayor. And bringing up the rear is my school board commissioner, Mr. Robert Battles. We have several pastors here, too many for me to name, but we see you and we appreciate you. Thank God for you. Keep doing the good work that you're doing in our various houses of worship. Thank you, Madam Superintendent, or Madam City Clerk. It's your fault, Ms. Adams. I'm back in school board zone. Thank you, Madam City Clerk. We're back in your hands.
Is Mr. Dillman here? Who's from Easter Seals? It's Mr. Hart. Oh, Mr. Hart, okay. Oh, yeah, Easter Seals.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Frank Harkins with Goodwill Easter Seals. Cammie Wayne, we'll talk about her in just a minute. She's going to share a little bit with us. But first of all, let me just tell you that I'm a citizen of this great city for 40 years. And I've seen this government, council, and mayor, and other forms of government we had prior to that. And I just want to thank you for your public service. Thank you for making our community better. I'm here to represent Goodwill Easter Seals today. For the past 25 years, and this being our 26th year, we have created a Christmas ornament of a landmark of this beautiful city. When we created that, we're proud of this city. And we know people come and go, and we have children that move off, and how can we stay connected for the city that we love? So we came up with a landmark, and we make a Christmas ornament every year. We're the season of peace, joy, hope, and love. And Goodwill Easter Seals served in this community for 63 years of providing those things to all of the people that we serve. People with disabilities, people without disabilities, children, any age. We're here to help another human being be all that God created him to be. And so it's a great honor for us today to present to you and the mayor our official ornament this year of the Cammie's Old Dutch ice cream. You've all experienced it. I'm gonna give you a small story, and then I'm gonna let you talk, okay, Cammie? Again, I came here. It was in 1969. Mr. Watermeyer had this, and Cammie worked there when she was 16 years old.
And that was not in 69.
Yeah. Okay. and she bought it and has had it since. Now, I am a father, took my children to eat ice cream, Sammy's Old Dutch. Last week, I had my 12th grandchild. So the rest of us, the 12th one didn't get to come, the rest of us went down to Cammy's and got some ice cream. So it is just a family tradition and a beautiful thing for this community to just focus on all the good that is going on in our community. So we're very thankful and honored that Cammy is allowing us to use her business as our Christmas ornament. And this is their 50th year they've been doing this in our community. So
well, thank you. And I would not be around for 50 years if I did not have the awesome customers that I have. I have a tremendous support system in Mobile. But thank you. This was on my bucket list, and when I got it, I was like, yes. So the next one is the cover of Southern Living. I have high expectations, so if anybody has anything, let me know if y'all can put in a good word for me. But thank you very much. This is a beautiful ornament. And I've had so many people from New York and Hawaii and all ordering them, and it's really great. So Bill, Alabama will be everywhere this year. But thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. President, I would just like for all of you all to know that Cammy's Old Dutch is in the heart of District 1, O'Shea, Florida, and that I've tried my best to stay away from sweets, cakes, pies. I want Cammy to know that at least once a week I find myself in Old Dutch. Ice cream. You are awesome. You are nothing shorter than awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, by a show of hands, how many people in the audience have all been to Cammy's and had some ice cream? I think that tells you. Thank you and congratulations.
Good choice.
Florida and O'Shea, guys. Florida and O'Shea. Never too cold.
Yeah, never too cold for ice cream.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have requests for a waiver of the noise ordinance on November 22nd in Bienville Square and November 10th on Kennedy Street.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to declare the structures at 1804 Lacey Street, 907 Opal Avenue, 714 Reuben Street public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Is there anyone here that would like to offer any commentary pertinent to these addresses? If not, the public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Joseph Jones.
To our city council, the distinguished members of the audience who are duly recognized as such. I am Joseph Seymour Jones. I live at 1464 Stevens Road. The address has a dirt address, which is 1500 St. Stevens Road, 3036 is different than the house. The zip code is 36003. I have to distinguish the difference between the dirt address because that's the one that the property tax with the real estate division for the city of Mobile claiming ownership of, and they got a tax exemption, and my parent died in 17. I got a tax statement last year, 60 days after she died, within that range. The revenue commissioner asked me, on behalf of my family, there are other heirs, where to send the bill, so I didn't get one this year. And I had to call and get what would equal a receipt document. And I have no problem with that, but I requested the 1500 document for the city of Mobile property as well, because I'd like to enter to the record how I got my tax statement this year. That would be okay? Protocol?
No problem at all, Mr.
All right.
Jones.
Then the next issue is the park, whereby The evidence is such that my mother died as the last residential owner in that triangle, and as I attended the September 18th meeting of the Lafayette Neighborhood Association, and I've checked and have not been able to acquire through probate, as I was asked with the attorney on September 4th, had I been, and I've since been, and I've filed several things there. One or two of those items are replications. But in any case, the park is planned, as I understand it, and some of my neighbors are not impressed with that. You're going to have persons walking up off of a ground level onto several series of steps that my mom and I and my family have kept for 42 years now. With this park idea, a city employee can tell me I don't have to be concerned with trash down on that end, which is always an issue. It's a high-traffic area. But I'm concerned that a third park is going to be offered, and I've had thefts. The wrought iron furniture that was on the porch is wood now. Just picked the setup off the street somewhere to make it look like a drive around my home won't equal access if you watch my vehicles move. So we had a shooting in the residence in '95, uninvestigated proper, but I got those bullets. I could bring them to you. Now, security is a factor to me still, this park idea. I talked with your representative on site, and he indicated I need to do a little politicizing to try to get a bullet fence, because you're going to open me up to level of security breaches. It's already that. So I asked if you could and would consider holding that park idea until the next year, where we can see if there's a possibility that your tax exemption won't override the idea that a statement will come to my home proper from the commission. And not only that, find more than a phone number for the neighborhood association. Get them in line with Regency. They have documents in probate as far as an association. Hillsdale Heights had those items as well. Lafayette Heights has on a phone number. And if you have someone committee with the city designating some type of civil forfeiture of someone's assets, I've spent a lot of money chasing this issue since July 24th of last year when I found out about the park. So I've given you indications here that I was called to the side for what should have been an open forum meeting. I addressed it on the side and under what I consider high security elements. So let us just leave it as we know. I need for the council, for the city, the mayor here, as well as the council attorney and the general counsel attorney, who is Mr. Baxter. Now, he has communication, but they can tell me this is a discretionary project, but there are conflicts, and maybe the mayor needs to revive his action for some authority on all these contracts going on around the Triangle redevelopment project with my mother's deceased home sitting in the middle of a public land bank. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I just want to state for the record that the land that will be used to provide that recreational amenity in Lafayette Heights is owned by the city of Mobile. We're going to move forward with the project, and this has the endorsement of the citizens in the Lafayette Heights community. As a matter of fact, it was designed by the citizens in the Lafayette Heights community. It was requested by the citizens of the Lafayette Heights community. And so it will be a beautiful amenity in that area, including a clock tower, so that when you ride down St. Stephen's Road, it's a no-doubt moment that you've entered into Lafayette Heights and into the campground community. I'm sorry that we've had these misunderstandings with Mr. Jones relative to who owns the property. But the answer is pretty clear on our end, and we're willing to provide you the information to make it clear on your end.
Right.
But your time has expired, Mr. Jones.
That's fine. Well, we did make public record requests,
Mr. Jones.
and none of those items have been delivered.
Mr.
I'm not
Jones.
the homeowner.
I understand.
But you're forcing
your
me to spend
time
a
has
lot of money
expired,
to
Mr.
address
Jones.
it. And I appreciate that.
Yes,
You're
sir.
very
I
kind.
appreciate
I should
you.
look for a response.
Sounds like a winner. Thank you for coming down today. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President and Council, we have a number of speakers that we're about to call now that have signed in for the annexation.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is more than likely that we're going to lay this issue over for 2 weeks. Anybody here that is intentional on speaking has all rights and privileges to speak. We will listen to all commentary, opinion, perspective. We're not turning anyone away. It's on the agenda, and anyone who would like to speak has all rights and privileges to speak. I believe we will actually vote or not vote in weeks. And so I want to make that clear to everyone, so that if you would prefer to come back in 2 weeks, you would have that privilege. If you want us to hear today, and I assure you we all will listen intently to make certain that we gain your perspective on this issue. It's an important issue, and so we're treating it with that level of importance. If you want to speak today, you absolutely have that ability. I know those of you who've adjusted your schedules to be here, and we're going to listen as long as it takes. So with that being known, Madam City Clerk, just go down your list.
Okay. David Ritchie.
David Ritchie, 2346 Chapel Hill Drive.
Pardon me. I want to recognize Mr. Meganson. I didn't recognize you. You cut your hair so close. My former school board colleague, Mr. Ken Meganson, glad to see you here. All right. Happy day. All right. Bishop Ritchie, if you could start his time back, please.
I'll actually will not be in town the next 2 weeks. So, David Ritchie, 2346 Chapel Hill Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 2366695. I like to preface my remarks by saying the people in Mobile, Alabama, present company included, the past two mayors, the business people, education, government leaders, and workers, pastors, and spiritual leaders in our city are some of the finest people I've ever met. We have a fine community of people that anyone in America and even the world would be proud to know and live here if they got to know us. I just want to preface my statement with that. I love the people here in Mobile, and that's the community, the people. But let me having said that, I've been kind of puzzled on one hand and disappointed on the other regarding some of the comments and discussions on annexing parts of West Mobile. Being a black person raised up in the 50s, 60s in the USA, I'm certainly not with experiences of people telling me what I can and where I cannot go. That never stopped me. Oh, the call that is on my life as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ causes my feet to be planted on the side of fighting for justice wherever I encounter injustices. But I must also add, upon moving to Mobile, Alabama 31 years ago, I've repeatedly heard people on both sides of the track tell me we don't do it like that here. How long must we wade through the attitudes that seem to say we're living today as if it were yesterday? One of the main objectives I've heard regarding annexation is that it would upset the racial balance in the city. Another one is that the mayor is trying to upset the racial balance so that he can win another election. It's as if the mayor is going around selling spiked Kool-Aid, and if you drink it, you'll fall under his spell. If that is Mayor Simpson's goal, he has certainly fooled me for the last 15 or 16 years that I've known him, where we've had Bible studies and prayer together year after year. I wonder why God hasn't revealed to me, how racist, cunning, and conniving he was. That truly was a deviation from my relationship with the Lord. I know that I'm being a little facetious here and possibly on the verge of making some anger, but however, I really am passionate regarding this issue, and opposing the stance of annexation simply leaves me baffled. When Mayor Jones was in office, many of his inner circle was black. Now that Mayor Stimson is mayor, many of his inner circle is white. Is that alone proof that these two mayors are racist? Is a white mayor racist until proven liberal? How does that work? I need education outside of my black history and studies in high school, college, race relations council in the U.S. Army. Again, being facetious, but let's be clear here. We either work together. Yes, I'm sorry.
You signed in on what subject matter?
Annexation.
If you could, make your commentary pertinent to annexation.
That's not annexation?
No, sir.
What am I saying?
You delved off into ethnicity.
And is my time still going on?
Suspend this time, please.
Yeah.
You delved off into ethnicity, into race, into an assumption as to how one or more of the people who sit behind dais may or may not feel. No one publicly has told you that. So I'm asking, as I would ask anybody, if you keep your you live in the county.
Yes, sir.
You want to come into the city.
Yes, sir.
Which is the annexation.
Yes, sir.
If you could keep your comments germane to why you want to come in. Allegations about how someone may or may not feel and whose office is composed of what ethnicity really is not connected to annexation. So if you could keep your comments pertinent to annexation, and this is going to be the same metric that I'm going to use with everybody. So it's not you singularly. Everybody's going to have to speak what they signed in on. If we could continue this time.
Okay, I thank you, and I apologize if I've insulted you or anyone
No
else.
insulting. I just want to be on the same
Deviated
page.
from what I'm supposed to do. I apologize.
Yes, sir.
I sincerely apologize.
Mhm.
I've worked tirelessly in the past annexation efforts and annexing our city into the West Mobile. And I've been bitterly against forming another city. But in this season, it seems like that may be a possibility. And I would really hate for that to happen because I see it was blocking Mobile from future growth into that part of our county. It seems like there's a lot of blank land, free land out there that Mobile could capture. It would be a real opportunity for future growth in years and years to come. It's just exploding out there as far as possibilities. And so for us to not grasp on that in this season, and I would like to say that I think that I told one of the council members there, I think there's a real crucial time for our council members to seize on this. And I don't know if we would have another opportunity like this in the future. Again, I speak God's peace over you, over our city, and if I've offended anyone, that was not my intentions. My intentions was to share my heart. I've been in race relations almost all my adult life, and that's just where I am, and so I have to speak from what I know. I'm not an agent of anyone else but my heart for annexation. That's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President.
Mr. Small?
Yeah, I'd like to make a statement for the people that's looking to annex to Mobile. Mobile is governed by a law which is called the Zogby Act, and that's what the city follows, is a state law. And the Zogby Act, all the gentlemen that was before us said the inner circles of different mayors, but the Zogby Act states that the administration must reflect the makeup of the city. So tell me which one was right, the first one or was it the second one? Because again, the state law states that the administration, the inner circle, is supposed to reflect the makeup of the city. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Mr. Richardson?
If you out there have been watching us on TV, you will note that this council has not been bogged down with no issues regarding race. Not this council here. We're not carrying that cross dealing with annexation. But I just want to say for the benefit of everybody here that all animals are in a specific species. Dogs are in a species, cats are in a species, all humans are in a species. I just want you to know that. We are Homo sapiens. And we're Homo sapiens because of our function. We can stand upright, we can walk, talk, laugh, cry, think, plan, reason. Other animals can't do it. You didn't get human race because of your color. You became a member. You're a Homo sapien because of your function. Mel Stephenson and Fred Richardson are both in the same race. the human race. We're all in the same race. And humans come in multicolors. Dogs come in different colors, cows come in different colors, hogs come in different colors, and we come in different colors.
Yes.
But we are no less part of the human race. I just want to get that straight. There's no such thing about no black race. My great-granddad came from Jackson, Alabama, and he was a Caucasian, and his ancestors came from Europe. If I was not in the race with Mass Stimson, you can't procreate outside of your race. If I'm not in the same race with those whose skins are white, how could my great-granddaddy make my great-granddaddy impregnate my great-grandmother? No, because they were in the same race. You can't procreate outside of your race. We're all one, humans. And as long as we see each other as the same, we're going to be just fine. But me, I'm in the, it's 7.5 billion people in the world, humans. And I'm in the same race with all 7.5 billion of them.
That's right. Madam City Clerk.
Danny Patterson.
My name is Danny Patterson. I live at 7500 Quincy Drive in Mobile, and I am in the proposed annex area, Smithfield Brentwood subdivision. As I mentioned before, we have 376 homes in that subdivision. I am president of the Homeowners Association there for the last 18 months, almost 2 years now. We have about 1,400 people, I believe, in the subdivision. And I am here again to say that I am for the annexation. I'm for it for growth. I'm for it not black or white, but green. That's why we're wearing green today. I'm for it because I believe growth in the population, growth in the potential funding, growth in all those things that Mobile needs. For 32 years, I've lived in a house that's one street over from the city. And for 32 years, all I did was sleep up there. Every day I went into Mobile and didn't know I was really not in Mobile. And when Mayor Jones was able to get the Schillinger corridor annexed, I went down there and paid my taxes into those stores and business owners like everybody else. I'm thankful for 30 years at IBM. It taught me a lot about leadership. And it told me that there'll be times when things will not go the way you want them to go. But all I think people are asking for in the affected areas is an opportunity to vote. Vote yes, vote no, but given an opportunity to vote. With so many people that have fought, bled, and died for the right to vote, I'm standing here today to say all I want is an opportunity to exercise that vote, along with other folks from my area. Thank you.
Constance Dial.
Good morning. I'm here, and my name is Constance Dow, and I live at 7451 Mallard Drive. That's on the other side of Schillinger's, Cottage Hill, Schillinger side. I'm here for the annexation, and I would like to have the opportunity to vote for it, and it be open up for my other residents, my neighbors, so they'll be able to vote for it. I think it is a win-win for Mobile, and we need the growth. We need the funding. We need all these things. So I'm here to represent that I am for it, and I would like to vote for it to have that opportunity, if you would give it to us. Thank you.
Bill Boswell.
Good morning. My name is Bill Boswell. I reside at 1609 Government Street. Thank you for this opportunity to comment on the annexation proposals. Please note that I'm speaking only as a concerned citizen and on behalf of any organizations with which I am affiliated. Mr. President, it's a pleasure to see you as well as the other members of the council and the mayor himself. Let me begin my comments on annexation proposals by saying that in general I support the proposals but have some concerns as well as some hopeful suggestions for the future. I support the proposals to allow these areas to decide their destiny. Should they vote to join one of America's oldest and most historic cities as new mobile citizens, I welcome them with open arms. I had the opportunity early yesterday morning to visit all three areas, and I firmly believe they will significantly add value in both economic and aesthetic sense. If managed properly, these neighborhoods will continue to grow, not only as residential properties, but as centers of much-needed retail businesses and places of employment, as well as parks for recreation. The mayor and his administration have laid out hopeful and optimistic justifications for adding these communities to our great city. If the numbers are correct or close to correct, and I have reason to believe otherwise, then the added population and added potential tax revenue will be a positive result and offer Mobile eligibility for grants and federal dollars we as a city desperately need. This should be an easy decision on your part. It is positive for the potential new neighborhoods who are seeking better services by becoming part of Mobile. It is positive for the city of Mobile, opening opportunities we otherwise would not be able to pursue. A positive plus a positive should result in a gain for us all. But in addition to these potential positives, I do have a few concerns. The first of my concerns has to do with whether or not the city has a well thought out plan to provide the services these neighborhoods will require without sacrificing the services offering to the existing neighborhoods. Quite frankly, the track record of our overburdened city departments to provide reliable services such as trash pickup, street, sidewalk, lighting, drainage infrastructure, and most importantly, the safety of our citizens with adequate police and fire protection, that track record is as questionable. The reason these neighborhoods are looking to join the city is to receive these services that we who live in the older parts of the city are not adequately receiving today. Another concern is probably the most troubling, and that has to do with why our city finds itself losing population and has to look to annexation as a solution to its ongoing economic difficulties. Until and unless we address the core reasons for why it is people are leaving and not moving into the city, we are like passengers in a hot air balloon gondola trying to stay afloat by pumping more warm air into a balloon that has several holes in its worn fabric. We may be able to temporarily annex more warm air, allowing the balloon to rise, but the long-term trend will be downward if we do not patch these holes in the fabric of our community. So what are these core reasons why we're losing population? When you ask people why they choose to live either across the bay or in Mobile County, several reasons are given, but two are dominant. One is safety. Mobile has a reputation of being an unsafe city, a perception that may or may not be deserved. But regardless, it is a perception and one that hopefully can be relieved if we are able to receive more funding as a result of these annexations. The second core reason is the quality of education our children can receive from the public school system, especially those within the city of Mobile. And today we learn that 7 out of 8 of the failing schools on the list are in the city limits of Mobile. The city of Mobile does not control the Mobile County public school system, but it can and must find ways to make the schools within the city limits achieve high status as an institution where families want their children to attend. We as a city must focus on these and other core challenges as we continue to make Mobile a city where everyone wants to live. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, I would just like to make this fact known because a lot of the the so-called failing schools are in the inner city. They only test Title I schools. Do you hear what I say? That they only give the test to Title I schools, schools where kids get free lunch, this, that, and the other. The rest of the schools are not tested at all. They only test Title I schools. So you can always give everybody the test. Let's rate every school. No, that's not what they do. They give the test to Title I schools only.
Madam City Clerk.
Gary Grice.
I'm not getting that. No, it tells every.
No, sir.
Yes, it do. It tells every.
Good morning. My name is Gary Grice. I stay at 3460 Justice Drive East. That's in Mobile. I am a resident of the Kings Branch subdivision, and I thank you all. I'm here hoping that y'all will give us an option to be able to vote for the annexation. I know the last time it didn't go well. We had a low turnout, but since then the subdivision actually has grown. I think it's a win-win situation for the subdivision and also to the growth of Mobile. I just don't see any downfall for us, you all giving us an opportunity to vote. But we do need some clarity around the services that you all going to bring. But for the most part, I think all the neighbors just need some more clarity, have some more understanding of how this is going to work out with us. So, again, just give us an opportunity to be able to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Fred Wheeler.
Before I go any further, I want to thank this lady right here. I've watched her week after week after week, and she does a fantastic job.
All right now.
There we go.
All right. I had to say that.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Thank you.
Reverend Manzi, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Fred Wheeler. I live at 8405 Sterling Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 366995, Carrington Place subdivision. I am a representative of AnnexWestMobile.org. It's made up of people who live in various subdivisions. We are not currently recognized as citizens of Mobile yet. Every one of our addresses say Mobile. A Mobile mayor asked why annexation, said, first, it's necessary and essential to the future development and growth of the city of Mobile. Secondly, it's the fair thing to do. That mayor was saying August 15, 2008. A current city council member said, Mobile relies on the penny sales tax to live on. Another current city council member, when asked earlier this year about the need to replace or refurbish the Civic Center, said, the council member said, we hire experts and have to believe what experts tell us. Wouldn't you rather have a brand new one? I have heard counselor after counselor, week in and week out, extol the values of the penny sales tax and CIP benefits from those taxes. Now that Mayor Stimson has put together a plan to increase not only the penny tax, but to potentially increase money available to public safety so that more police can be hired, Now that an expansion can place Mobile back in its rightful place as the second largest city, I'm seeing arguments from council people where they're saying, we do not need new neighborhoods to care for or new citizens to provide additional service to. We need to take care of the city have and make it the best it can be. If we commit ourselves to do that, we will choose to move into our, people will choose to move our city. To that and to other councilors who believe this, I ask you to look back only a few months ago, September 19th, 2019. I can tell you when I drove home that day in my neighborhood, there were no cars floating in the street as they were on Dolphin Street. I have good drainage, street lighting, underground utilities. So if you think my neighborhood needs repairs, think again. According to statistical records, trends in the area of Mobile people are moving to is west of Cody Road, and that's not part of the city. So instead of questioning our ability to function within the city of Mobile, I think a better question for you might be, how are you going to explain to your constituents why you turn down an additional $1.2 million annually after services are paid by those who use them? How are you going to explain not increasing the city's population above 200,000 so you're eligible for another $5 to $10 million in grants and in federal grants? How are you going to explain when you're responsible for those in your district how you failed to look after the city of Mobile and all of its citizens? We are not asking anything extra. We are not willing to pay for. We're not asking for extra services above what the city residents receive. We are simply asking for the right to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Dale Sawyer.
I'm Sawyer, 2001, Bradbury Drive West. I live in Mobile County, just outside the city limits off of Cody Road. President Manzi, ladies and gentlemen of the council, thank you very much for hearing this today. I'm the chairman of the West Mobile Annexation Committee, and we have a pretty good showing of the diversity of our group and the support for our group. Really want to say I appreciate what our Annexation Committee has done to help us get to this point. We have made it a point to be very factual and maintain the integrity of our committee to share factual information regarding us joining the city, what it will cost the city, what it will cost us, and the features and benefits on both sides. And during our quest for being annexed in the city of Mobile, we posed certain questions that our committee put together, and we talked about this last week, but one of them is one that the city, we kind of stumbled upon with the city, and that was about grant opportunities. And so now we're talking about giving us the opportunity to join the city, and in doing so, us being successful, we help lift the entire city. We don't want to join best richest part of the city. We want to join all of your parts of the city. And all of your parts of the city want to help rise and prosper and do better. Our message is a message of prosperity and lifted the entire city and raising Mobile to a prominent position in America. Y'all have done a terrific job along with the mayor's office of bringing international business here and international population comes with that. All the business we bring here, we don't want to send that wealth across the bay. Let's bring that wealth to Mobile in new houses and new development, wherever we can build those houses, whether it be in West Mobile or whether we can annex off other areas. Let's do that. Let's lift our city. Let's grow our city and maintain that wealth here. Let's don't build Baldwin County public schools. Let's don't build Baldwin County wealth. Let's help ourselves, help our people, help our school system. When I say our people, I'm talking about the people who lives in your district are our people. Just because there's a line between my house and the districts you guys identify with and represent the constituents of Mobile Doesn't mean I'm not a Mobilian. I love this city. When I travel anywhere in this country or anywhere in this world, where are you from? I'm from Mobile, Alabama. And most of them know exactly where I'm talking about. From an international historic perspective, Mobile has its place in this world. It's very much defined. From a national perspective, Mobile has been very prominent as a seaport in our history of Mardi Gras and other things. And I mentioned it last week, I dropped. This brings Mobile as a destination city on New Year's. Thank you very much. But we appreciate what's done, and we're asking for opportunity. And we're not asking any more or any less that's been proposed for the decades and the other annexation opportunities that presented itself to Mobile. Mobile reached out to embrace those opportunities for people to join the city. It had needs. It has need for revenue. It has need for citizenship. It has needs to expand its boundaries so that we can move forward. That's all we're asking is for opportunity. And in our opportunity, we want to join this city and help present and help lift with these other grants. There's lots of other grants that are unknown at this point. And do I still have a little bit more time, or?
1 minute.
Thank you. But here we are, and we appreciate your consideration. I understand that there needs to be more clarity, very much understandable. And I think that's clarity that can be provided. If you don't get it, please call me, and we will work to get factual information, which I feel confident you will get. But we want to help any of your questions. And any of your constituents have any questions, you have my contact information. If you don't have it, Ms. Bess has it. I'm happy to come and meet with your community, meet with you individually, and we just ask for opportunity. And thank you very much for this opportunity to present. Have a pleasant day.
Yes, sir. Mr. Sawyer.
Yes, sir.
You are the chair.
That's correct.
Of the
West Mobile Annexation Committee.
I just want to ask publicly, because this has become a public issue, particularly in my district and in Councilman Small's district. Was your organization in any way responsible for the dissemination of these postcards?
No, sir, we were not. We have no knowledge of where those postcards originated or came from. I have no idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Small?
Sorry,
Yes,
thank you for coming down today. You said that we have in the questions that we can contact you at any time. Can I ask you, where did you get, or where are you getting most majority of your information from? I mean,
Our committee, our committee sat down, and we were looking for what are all the reasons that Mobile would want to take us in, and what are all the reasons that Mobile may not want to take us in. So we set out to meet those objectives. So in doing so, we contacted Ms. Rich when we got proper support, and she suggested that, well, to move to the next level, she needs to talk to the mayor's office. We got invited to speak to Matt Anderson and the mayor and Larry Wettermark and Chief Barber and several other. There's a couple. Not sure if Mr. West was there. He was there, and pose our questions, and they gave us the answers that we asked for. One of the questions that was posed by our committee was, what does it mean for Mobile to be the second largest city in the state? What does it mean for Mobile to be the largest city in the state? You know, getting us above 200, comes to find out, getting above 200,000, it was, all those answers were, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Well, we don't give up. We keep posing the same questions, because it's got to mean more than number 4. But so here we come. There's some discoveries made that there are grant opportunities. And the grant opportunities, as I understand it, are grant opportunities that we exercise now, but we reap the benefits of a city of 50,000 people. And I'm sure every department in the federal government has different grants that have different requirements, but it seems like the golden egg here are the public service grants that we know about that get us, if we get above 200,000, I understand, by December 31st, we qualify and we set our city up for the next 10 years grant opportunities to receive this. And this can be up to $100 million if we take advantage of all the grants What's the limit? Could it be 200?
So the bottom line is you got your information from the administration.
We got our, if part of our information came from the administration, part of our information came from probate court, part of our information came from Mobile County. And Jerry Carl helped us get information also.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Ms. Rich?
I don't have a question, but, and thank you very much for your commentary. Appreciate hearing it.
Ms. Rich, do you have a question for Mr. Sawyer?
No, that's fine.
Mr. Sawyer, you can, she just
But
has a general statement.
I would just like to make some statements, since I was mentioned as someone who was originally ouched with, and I think that might have to do with the Darby Creek situation, where that group came and worked with my office and the administration in order to prove that they would be of a benefit to the city. And so I am very enthusiastic about growing this city, and I've made no bones about that from day one. I just knew that my office, as a council person, could not direct city employees to bring information, so that I needed to go to the mayor's office, or not me, that group needed to be introduced about their initiative. It's my understanding that group formed, there were actually 3 groups, I believe, that were formed when Commissioner Carl brought the news out about having to create fire districts in some area when the city decided to roll back public safety services. And one group took a status quo and researched it. Another group looked at annexation, which Dell and I believe Freddie came forward to lead. And they did this. Also, there was an anti-group too. So again, this group was kind of a civic group that, based circumstance, created this energy among themselves. It's not anything that had anything to do with that group. I don't know about the group that sent the postcards. When I saw that postcard, and I imagine the press will now pick up on what was going to some council people's residents about this issue, was very misdirected, in the sense that we all have a vote in this, not just the council people in the inner city of Mobile. And also it was based on a lot of misinformation, which makes it more difficult for a council person to make a good quality decision about our future. But again, this is something that it is organic, and is actually, I thought when I was first approached, very complimentary to the city of Mobile, that there is a large group, when we started getting those letters that came to our desk, I knew right away that this was something that people were very motivated about, and sometimes that motivation doesn't always last. So I just feel like it's something that is a very positive thing. I take that approach to this on a long-term stability, sustainability issue. West Mobile brings a lot to the table. It is, we are a fabric that's woven together, made up of our 7 districts. I think there's also a misunderstanding: if we grow, do we change our form of government? The borders change. The 7 districts would still be represented. There would be a different demographic, so to speak, different borders. We've done that before. Every 10 years we do that at election time. So again, it's not changing who we are, it's developing who we are. And so I'm glad for the 2-week rest that has been noted as a reason to get more quality information on what the decision means for our future. But thank you.
Mr. President?
Ms. Gregory?
If I might, do have a question, and some of the people who are here, the homeowners associations, maybe Freddie or Dell could answer, or maybe somebody with the administration, but some of the emails that we are getting now are from people in the county who are not included in your groups, and some of them are a little frustrated, a little angry that they are not included, but the retail, of course, in those areas is drawn into these proposed areas and will be part of the vote. So in order to help explain how all this came about, Dell, if you're the person that could help explain all of that. In particular, there's Bramlett Trace. In fact, I saw some of them on TV last night complaining because here's this retail and then across the street is where we live. So if you could better explain that, I think that might help.
Well, there were limitations. Part of one thing that we knew when we started out, we had to be a revenue positive generator before the city's going to talk to us. We could not be a burden on the city. We think we accomplished that. In doing so, there's areas that were drawn around. There's we're trying to take in anybody that we can take in, and also take in other vacant areas in the city, which would allow the city to grow with new construction and new neighborhoods and that kind of thing. Well, I think we didn't draw the maps. The maps were drawn to complement our desire. We have 30,000 people that we represent, but we can only bring in approximately 13,000 is what we present to bring in. And so we have no control over the rest of that. If we could find more revenue, and if the council wanted to, we would be behind reaching whichever direction. There's more people around that need the same thing that we seek, that are from different communities around us. And I used to work in one of those communities for 35 years. But today we're talking about this annexation effort, so if those folks that were left out would like to contact me, it is when this is over, whichever direction, we're not finished. We have to find some solutions for those guys also. That's what our mission was moving forward, and our mission will continue to be that, to help those people. We have a seat at the table for anybody who's interested in annexation or has a problem with losing their fire district, fire coverage, whether we need to help them create a fire district or help them do other things. We want to be that voice and help them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Reggie Hill.
This topic also, is his topic this? So he signed in for this topic.
Mr. President, members of the council, Mayor Stimson, citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. Rise today to speak about the annexation. And before I begin, Mr. President, I would like to say that I appreciate moments like this that allow us to dialogue with individuals who we may never have had an opportunity to converse with. Like I feel over the past few weeks, myself and Mr. Fred Wheeler and Mr. Dale Sawyer have discussed some things that probably never would have had an opportunity to take place before for something just like this. And I believe that the three of us share the same sentiment, along with everybody else in this chamber, that we want to see the expansion, the vitality, the growth, the progress, the prosperity of the city of Mobile. However, I would like to see us move forward in that facet, looking at the facts and not just possibilities. Over the past several weeks, we've seen a lot of rhetoric, and I'm going to speak to the facts of the as best I understand them through statement and questions, and I hope that they'll be able to be answered. There's been a lot of talk about the idea of $27 million being utilized in the PJ for this area. Now, me personally, that's extremely hard to believe that we are spending $27 million in the PJ. And then if we have a state statute that has us to spend under $3 million, I would love to see what are the results of this additional $24 million. But what I want to do is to commend the mayor for speaking up during his comment section this morning and encouraging the council to lay this over for 4 weeks. And I hope that within that time frame, we'll be able to understand exactly how are we spending $27 million for policing and not yielding the results that represent that much spending. I just don't understand how that could be. I want to also highlight an idea, and this has been heavy on the table too, about grant eligibility. We look at this opportunity where we are now. We've seen where we've applied for certain grants and maybe haven't been approved. This has happened over and over. We've also seen where we've applied for grants, they've been approved, and they've been told to represent a certain idea on the agenda, but once they're passed, the resource is not used and allocated for what they were stated for in front of the public. So I'm not just completely safe with the idea alone that the grants should be enough to push this forward. Also, we have to consider, if we move into this bracket of 205,000 people, and let's remember, we are not against the expansion and growth of the city of Mobile. It's just about the facts of getting there. If we are put in the bracket with Houston, Birmingham, Jacksonville, people who've already learned what is necessary in this tax bracket to obtain those resources, I actually think it's going to be extremely difficult for us to adapt to that apparatus. We have to consider these things instead of just throwing out these numbers and attempting to use fear tactics for our people. The idea of opportunities and safety, I believe, can be tackled with the resources that are already available. I don't want anyone to misconstrue my statements here, again, because I want to highlight this as much as possible. I want to see our city expand. I want to see our city grow. But it cannot be at the hands, and I would say the justification of ideologies. We look at the Zogby Act and understand that the makeup of the people who are in authoritarian positions to make decisions for these constituents that live here is based on the population. It's based solely on the population. So if we have people who are manipulating numbers that may be presented in a certain way, we say, oh, we're going to get $2.2 million. Well, we had a public safety director tell us that $2.2 million is what's needed for 45 new police officers. This is what you're saying is going to take place in this project. We cannot oppress, suppress, diminish, and kill off the ideas of the people who are suffering the most in this city. And I think for too long we have been overlooked. So again, I'm totally for expansion, growth, vitality, progress, prosperity within the city of Mobile. But I pray that within these next 2 weeks, we find out how we are spending $27 million in a police jurisdiction with all of the things that are happening within this city. How are we going to actually guarantee that this will be economic development? And that's not just rhetoric to get something passed. People put you here in this place, and I believe that you have the capability to make decisions that will benefit a high quality of life for the citizens of Mobile. And I trust that that is what will be done. And I have no grievance with anyone who spits on either side.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
And I hope that we will use that in our understanding moving forward.
Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. All right.
Sandra Fondren.
Good morning, Councilman, Councilwomen, and Mayor Simpson. I'm Sandra Sellers Fondren. I'm 8585 Sterling Drive in Mobile, in the area that's in the proposed annexation area. I have belonged with the West Mobile Annexation Committee, and I've been working with them. And I had the opportunity, along with my husband on Sunday, to go out and talk and meet with neighbors that in our Carrington neighborhood. And I just wanted to let you know that the people that we spoke to were all very much in favor of wanting to be annexed. I ran across many different comments from people there, and one gentleman told me, he says, I moved out here into the county, he said, because I thought, well, I'm going to save money in taxes. And he said, you know what? I shot myself in the foot. He said, because I pay that much for garbage pickup now. He said, so I want to be annexed. And anyway, I'm a people person. I like talking to people. I previously worked for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in customer service. And people used to always comment about my accent and ask where I'm from, and I'd say, I'm from Mobile, Alabama, and they'd say, oh, I've been through there, and I said, yes. I said, it's God's country, and that's just the way I feel about Mobile. I was born and raised here. I'm very proud of Mobile. I live just outside the city limits, but it's in an area of rapid growth. That's why we wanted to move into that area, because where everything's growing. And the people that live out there, I just wanted to let you know that they feel the same way that we do. They're very proud people to be a part of Mobile because that's what we consider ourselves, are Mobilians. And we want to be, we would like to have the opportunity to vote and to be annexed. And I want to thank you very much for all of your time, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Ms. Fonda?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you, how long have you lived in the residence that you live in now?
In the area that I'm living right now?
Yes, ma'am.
I've lived there for 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And is there any one singular reason that prompted you to want to be in favor of annexation at this point?
That prompted me to be annexed?
Yes, ma'am.
I always wanted to be a part of Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why my husband and I decided on that particular property is that it's newer construction than a lot of the construction that's in Mobile city limits. We looked at many properties before. I don't make up my mind very easily. I'm a woman. I have to shop around. And, I looked at properties in Mobile. I was born and raised in Spring Hill. So I wanted to really live in Spring Hill, but our finances wouldn't afford that. West Mobile offered us, newer housing and lots of wonderful businesses where you could shop without having to venture out too far. It's a beautiful area too. We love it out there.
But I guess the question that I'm trying to kind of drill down to,
Affordability.
you stayed there now 60 months, 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it's at this present point that you all have wanted to be annexed. So I'm wondering, was there one action, one singular move that prompted, after all the years you've been there, for you to want to come in now?
Well, I would like to be annexed. I do. I guess what I basically could tell you is that I wasn't fully aware of the lack of services that we had being in the county. And then I became aware of services that we were going to lose, with the rollback to the 1.5 mile, and very, very concerned about that. I'm not 21 anymore. I'm getting older, and the fact of losing EMS protection, and of course police protection, fire protection. Those are things that concern me. My husband and I bought our house. We own it outright, and we don't want to lose it. We want to make sure that we have good protection. And like I said, when we bought a house, we could have chosen to move, over the bay or any place, but we wanted to live in Mobile. We wanted to live, be considered that we were in Mobile.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Greg Harris. Second.
He always says I go around use names, so I always have to put that 2 on there. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Greg Harris, 301 Chidester Avenue, Council President.
That's true.
City Council. Mr. Mayor. Just like to open up with a fun fact of myself real fast for you, if I may. Went to John L. LaFleur High School. When I got to that high school, I walked in those doors standing 4'2". And I was the shortest person in the band coming in that summer, and I was unanimously given the nickname Crumb. They all knew me by that. There's people who still know me by it right now. 2 summers after that, walked that band room, and I was 5'10". That's a lot of growth. And people would say,
5'10"?
5'10".
Oh.
5'8". Come on, guys.
I knew you was fudging somewhere.
5'8". 5'8".
There we go. Okay.
Oh, you 5'8", brother. Keep going.
And some would say that's a lot of growth.
That's right.
And I would have to agree with him because that is, in fact, in essence, on the surface, what it is, was growth. But if you look inside of the person, in those 2 years in high school, compared to the person that stands before you now, we would clearly see that there's a whole other category of growth. And that's the category that I'd like to address this council with today. I've heard a lot of people, proponents for annexation, saying the city of Mobile needs growth. The city of Mobile needs expansion. Well, I agree with that. But that same growth comes from within. It is the same lack of growth that causes people to leave our city. And the answer to expanding ourselves is not simply going off and taking on this area where they happen to be moving over to. If that's the case, let's just go ahead and annex Baldwin County as well. That is not the solution. The solution to grow our city is to focus on and tackle the real issues that stop people from wanting to contribute to this city. That is how we grow our city. And just the young lady said before, she grew up in Spring Hill, so she knows about the city services and all that living in a city has to offer. And yet and still, they made the decision to live in the county. Now, these services weren't taken from them overnight. So they were into, and on their side, hey, I got to agree. I would want to join Mobile too if I were them. I want to take advantage of all these services around here. But when it seems like we have horrible public transportation, and when it seems like crime is spiking, and when it seems like, yes, we are bringing large industries, but a large portion of our own population are not yet equipped to take things on, I feel like there are more things in the city that we need to grow except for our actual city size limits. So I encourage each one of our city councilmen up here to actually consider your constituents and grow internally our city and build our city and actually make us stronger and actually safer after 2020. Thank you.
Those are all the speakers who were signed in. We appreciate all of the commentary that we've heard. There's passion that's been exhibited on both sides of this issue. And I'm sure over the next 2 weeks, we're going to hear more and more and more about this. And so thank you again for coming down and for your interest.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir?
Do we want to go ahead on and get any commentary any council member made on this issue out of the way now, so when we get there we can vote? Or are we wait until we get there?
Well, Mr. Richardson, I feel being that we're going to move to lay it over, now if there's just somebody burning to make an address, I have an issue with.
Motion on the floor. Let's just move on.
No, there isn't a motion on the floor.
I say we move.
But I'm responding to his inquiry.
I understand.
Mr. Williams. Sir?
I understood, yeah.
Oh,
It didn't matter.
so, now I do believe
We are on resolutions.
it's gonna come up in the agenda, Mr. Richardson.
Let's go.
And so we'll discuss it then, and then I believe there's also a presentation.
Presentation.
No, it's not.
Technical difficulty.
Well, there possibly could be a presentation. Let's get to that item. We'll move forward in the agenda. Thank you.
Resolutions held over 01964 and 01965, authorized non-exclusive lease agreement with the Gulf Coast Ducks for the boat ramp near the Convention Center, and a sublease agreement with Gulf Coast Ducks for space in 650 St. Anthony Street.
Move to lay over 1 week.
Second?
So move to lay over 1 week. Any discussion? I'm just hopeful the administration is able to reach an amicable resolution with the Ducks. If they don't want to move forward and be fair and conciliatory to the city, then I know what my response will be. And maybe they have another way to get their duck boat on the water. And we shall see.
Ducks in a row.
Sir?
Get their ducks in a row.
Yeah, they need to get the ducks in a row. I appreciate that, Mr. Williams. They get their ducks in a row, or we'll get them in a row.
Quiet.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Resolution 02984, 985, and 986 are declaring the public good requires certain territory be brought into the city of Mobile, Schillinger Corridor, Airport and Snow Road area, and Kings Branch area.
Move delay over 2 weeks.
Second.
The property moved to second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President?
Yes, I would like to make a couple of comments here. First comment, I would like to start off by saying, you know, are we ready to expand Mobile? Growing Mobile and expanding Mobile is a good idea, but are we ready yet? And I'd like for the city clerk to go ahead and load up my presentation on the board, please. But are we ready yet? I have several questions. Why is Mobile losing population? And Mobile hasn't reduced the land size at all. Is it because of crime? Is it because of the quality of life? Or is it because of infrastructure? Or is it sales tax? Why are we losing them? We're talking about expanding Mobile, and our city engineering department around here hollering about they can't keep up with our current capital improvement project plans that's going on. So the city had to go out and outsource a third party. Yes, we are working on decades of neglect infrastructure work and still have a lot of work to do there in our districts and throughout the city. Several weeks ago, and even now, our local neighborhoods across the city were and is still struggling with overflowing trash as direct results of our public works department being understaffed, overworked, and underpaid. Are we ready to expand Mobile? Let's first address a majority of the issues that plague our city currently and fix it. We need to address the immediate concerns of our communities instead of finding new communities to invest in. Stop putting a Band-Aid on current issues and fix it right, and stop ignoring current issues and current citizens. This couple weeks ago, or about a month ago, I met with some citizens that's out in the county about annexing, and I told them it's my responsibility to take care of District 3 first before I take care of another area. A couple weeks later, there was a poll that went out about me in the district saying Councilman Small is pushing money out in West Mobile. If you're a Trump supporter, you know, why would you vote for Councilman Small? And et cetera. I took it and ran with it. Now, the last couple of weeks, there has been some inaccurate information that even been sent out through the mail. I guess because the phone calls didn't work, I guess they said they're gonna get the mail. The only thing I have to say about this is desperate people will do desperate things. And how desperate can you get to mislead citizens? To me, it sounds like something is in the cookie jar, just isn't clean. We go to these levels. My mother always told me, if you tell one lie, you're gonna have to tell another lie to cover up. Many lies on this postcard, you misled citizens throughout not only District 3, but throughout District 2. Another lie, another lie, another lie. Some of the lies that's on here is saying the city is going to get between 5 to 20 million in federal funds. The same group sent out another postcard and says to receive as much as 12 million in federal grants. So which is true? Is it 5 to 20 or is it $12 million? Why are you misleading citizens? The city is spending $27 million out in the county. Cut it back. The city cut back services in the city. They cut back 311, they cut back the library, and they cut out nonprofit groups. The city currently have a surplus of $63 million. Why are we just stacking money and not delivering services? Why are we looking to annex and stack up more money? Why does our current citizens feel like they have been all forgot about? Mobile, are we ready to expand? I voted no on annexation in the spring, And right now, in the fall, I'm still on voting no, and even hold it up. Now, I'd like to commend a couple of news sources that had did some news stories on yesterday. One news source says, in reality, West Mobile residents pay half-price sales taxes and business license fees. And while Mayor Sandy Stimpson has said the city spends $27 million on police and fire coverage out there, that number includes the entire 3-mile police jurisdiction, an area that includes around 70,000 people, and not the 13,000 packed by the newest and the next push. The Mobile Policy Forum was established according to incorporation documents from the Secretary of State. It goes on to say that months before Stimpson began a public push for annex, the area that he claims will net $2 million, increasing tax revenues for the city. On Thursday, October the 24th, the Facebook page made its first post only a few hours after Stimpson has made his annexation push publicly in various local media outlets. I'd like to thank another news outlet for covering a good story. And it was talking about the person that's supposed to be the president of this group. And if my phone will play.
Tonight, targeted ads are hitting mailboxes.
Said it cost the city $27 million to provide emergency services to people living outside the city in the police jurisdiction. It only collected $2 million in taxes. The group says it stands by its ads.
I mean, it's all based on, fact sheets, the articles that have come out previously. However, I think that this is a pretty good example of citizen democracy.
Democracy? You playing with people's minds and playing with their heads, and you talking about democracy? That's not right at all. It's called games. On my presentation, yesterday evening around about 3:30, so these are not old photos. These are yesterday at 3:30, and this is what I'm facing every day. This is what I get phone calls about. Blighted homes everywhere. The streets and sidewalks, the principal was just here, Ms. Adams, been crying for sidewalks for years. Holes all in the street. The pool full of water, gaining mosquitoes. Trash overflowing. This is just yesterday. Basketball crack. If you look at the tree damage on the basketball court, that's not new. That's old limbs. Because the trees, the limbs are dead, and also the leaves are dead. The basketball court. These are the restrooms that's at Duval. I didn't get a chance to even make it to Tremere Park. But these are the restrooms. And we talk about expanding Mobile. We need to take care of home first. This is what I face. And right now, this District 3, yes, we get $3 million a year. But you think $3 million is going to cover this? The $2 million additional that we're looking to get into the city? You think over this? The answer is no. Until we fix these issues first, then we could go look beyond. Again, I'm not against growing Mobile, but we got to fix ourselves inward. And this right here behind what I have to deal with every day is not in district, beyond District 6. It's right here. This is what I have to deal with. This is what we need to address. This is what's in the heart of Mobile when people go towards Brooklyn Field. And this is just half my district. Nowhere on South DIP is on here. As in pointed out in the postcard, talking about precinct for South DIP. This is the north end of DIP. This is parts of Maysville. This is parts of Pleasant Valley Road. And if you send out another card, also put on the card that the citizens on South DIP, they want a Boys and Girls Club. They want a senior center. they want some nice shopping centers down there. Put on that postcard there. Again, my vote will be today no to lay this over because, again, we got things right here in our backyard in our own city that we need to address. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Richardson?
I'm going to have something to say now because if I wait 2 more weeks, it's going to give them chance enough to load and get more damaging stuff out there to put on those that they believe are going to vote no on annexation. I'm voting no on annexation. And it has nothing to do with nothing with what I heard most of the people say. If we vote, if you take a look at what CJ put up there, if we vote yes on annexation, it's going to set that city backwards for the next 50 years. And I'll tell you how that is going to happen. There are 460 cities, municipalities in the city of Mobile. I mean in the city of Alabama, but that's not but 169 cities. And there are 291 towns. And I contacted Alabama-Dade municipality and asked them if they ever heard of any city in the state of Alabama rolling back the police jurisdiction. They said no. There's no record of any city rolling back its police jurisdiction. So what happened to us was that in 2016, the mayor met with the sheriff department, met with the county commissioners to join him in rolling back the police jurisdiction by 1.5 miles. The sheriff wouldn't sign the agreement. The county wouldn't either, and they passed a resolution saying they needed until January 1, 2018 before they can make that kind of decision, because if we're going to roll back the jurisdiction, they're going to have to buy new equipment, they're going to have to take over police, fire, and all of that. They can't do that overnight. So, Master's answer to that was no. I can't wait to do that. So he placed it on the council on August 26, 2016 agenda. He placed it on the council agenda for us to vote to roll back the police jurisdiction. And the answer, the council voted no. We're not going to roll back the jurisdiction. I personally saw that as an attempt to annex. Take the police from you. You may want to come on into the city. That's how I saw it. That I'll take the police from you, and then you'll want to come into the city. So what we're claiming, what I've heard is that if we grow our city, if we can bring in 13,000 new residents into our city, that the city will be able to get millions more dollars in grants. Have y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? We need to get past the 200,000 mark, and the city will be able to really get more grants from the police department. I took that on. So I contacted the police department in Birmingham, Alabama. They have 210,000 people. Surely they are getting all kind of $1 million in grants. Last year, Birmingham got $904,167 in grants. Not even $1 million. Last year, the city of Mobile got $9,100,000 $136,613. We don't even have 200,000 people. So where is the evidence that we're going to take a quantum leap into the big funds when we get up $200,000? It didn't happen in Birmingham. And then nobody show us no evidence of this city who had a population beyond 200,000 that took in that kind of money. It didn't turn out to be true. Okay, we were told that in the jurisdiction we're trying to annex, we're collecting $2.2 million from the jurisdiction. As I said in pre-council, that wouldn't pay for Mayor Simpson's Section 40 employees. Forget a truck, for cars. If you think that's going to do something, go to Sam's. They have a whole Walmart. How many police officers they have up there now? Not one. Okay, so we spent $27 million. Let me say to you all, I have more experience than other council members down here. I've been down here for 20 years. I've been to annexation, and I know the philosophy behind annexation. I agree with all of you all that the area that is up for annexation is a beautiful area. Don't let nobody fool you when you go through there. That is a beautiful area. They have curb, gutters, sidewalks, overhead lighting, everything you would want in the community is out there. But there's no revenue out there. We don't make money off houses, off ad valorem. Only 7% of our budget is ad valorem taxes. You all pay big money in taxes not coming to us. It's going to the schools and to the county. So all we're getting in retail from you all, 2.2. I would venture to say that Publix on the corner of University and Airport pays more than $2.2 million, that one store. We would get more than $2.2 million in revenue from one Publix. You would be a liability. How could we service you with $13 million? We won't be able to service you with that. And that we are spending $27 million. Let me just tell you something. I have 30,000 people in District 1. We still not spending $27 million in District 1. I want to know that $27 million you are on to pay a 2.2, and we spending $27 million on you all. What else we paying? We your children, not our children. Why don't you spend $27 million on us? And if you add up 7, if you spend $27 million on all 7 council districts, it'll be $189 million. That for these budgets is not that much. The city budget ain't but $263 million. It cannot be. It'll break the bank. It'll break the vault. We can't afford it. That's what CJ was saying. Now, you can reverse that. I'll tell you what worked. I can tell you right now what worked. What worked would be if we are drawing $27 million from you in revenue, and we're only going to have to spend $2.2 million to service you, I guarantee you every citizen of the city of Mobile was saying, hallelujah, bring them on in, because we'll be making money off of you. But you think we're going to be laughing and we're going to spend 27, we're not taking with 2.2 million, we got to spend 27 million on you. You have now become a liability. It ain't got nothing to do with the color of nobody's skin. It has to do with mathematics. It has to do with the calculator, with the add machine, with common sense. The revenue is not there. On the flip side of that, 2007, when former Mayor Sam Jones annexed, they went down the Schillinger Road corridor to get the revenue. They went down Highway 90 straight on through Timber all the way into Theodore to get the revenue. So it was enough money to pick up the garbage, pick up the trash, police, fire, EMS, the whole thing, and money left to help bail Mobile out. When the economic difficulties hit this whole nation, if we had the annex, we would have gone under too. There is nothing to help us, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing that you all bringing. But I'll say again, it's beautiful. You all need to ride through that. It's a beautiful area. It's no revenue out there to service us. So, what happened? Mayor Simpson first tried to get the council to vote to draw back the police jurisdiction. Police and fire. Take it from y'all. Police and fire. You won't have police nor fire. We voted that down. He didn't stop there. On his own volition, he took away fire. And when I got your letters, most of your letters told me you want fire. It was intended to drive you toward the city of Mobile and cry out for annexation. And that's what led you all down. If you told us the truth, one of them did. She told you. But if all of them came down and said, what's driving y'all toward Mobile? It's when he took away the fire protection. Our insurance going up, our houses like it to burn down, we need help. We had nothing to do with that. And we know of no other city in the state of Alabama that ever did that. And it was no need of us doing that because we got $68 million in reserve. We are not broke. So the idea that we are doing that because we're, the city is not making much money and it's done for some other reason. But done for money, we got money. We might not be using it, but we certainly got it. No. It was intended to drive you all into the city, and that's what you all did. I heard the last speaker loud and clear. I agree with the last speaker. We're going to have to find out why people don't want to live here, why they're moving out. This bitch is trying to drag somebody else in here to fill up for the folks that's leaving and not going to work. If we are not smart and intelligent when we annex, annexation would be an albatross around our neck and it'll pull us all down if we are not wise and smart as we annex. We got to have the revenue to go with the people. Else we're bringing welfare with us, a liability. My vote is no.
Mr. Davis, then Ms. Rich.
Thank you.
I disagree with almost everything Mr. Richardson said, and that should be no surprise.
No, it's not.
And I'd like to just focus on one thing that I keep coming back to. I love you folks. I wish the best for you. But I was voted to represent and protect the interests of the people of the city of Mobile. And that's got to be my first priority. And the fact of the matter is, we are providing millions of dollars of services to people who live in police jurisdiction. Now, is it $27 million or $1 million? I think it's closer to 27 million than 1 million, but it's a lot of money. And the citizens of Mobile are paying for those services. If we withdraw those services, they'll be provided by someone else. The folks that are in the police jurisdiction are residents of the county. And I would remind you that the citizens of Mobile provide almost half of the revenue that the county receives already. So why should we burden them with an additional $1 million, $10 million, $20 million of subsidy to the county? Like the county commissioners, they're all wonderful people. But if I was them, I would want the citizens of Mobile to continue to pay for those services, because otherwise I got to pay for them. Now, the city council had an opportunity, as Mr. Richardson points out, several years ago to withdraw just from the outer band of the police jurisdiction. And we had 4 votes in favor of doing that. Took 5 votes, so we weren't able to do it. I'm hopeful that if this annexation proposal fails to pass, that we will be able to take action with respect to these services we provide in the police jurisdiction. We need to be thinking of the people who live in Mobile. There's been some arguments today that we ought to be focused on improving the quality of life for the people that live in Mobile through a bunch of different initiatives. I agree with that 100%. But if we continue to pay $25 million a year to provide services to people who don't live in Mobile, that's going to be exceedingly difficult. If we had approved the withdrawal from the police jurisdiction, which the mayor was perfectly willing to stage in over an extended period of time, working with the sheriff and the various fire departments and the county commission, if we had done that 3 years ago, think of the millions and millions of dollars that would have been available to us over the last 3 years to devote to providing services to the people of Mobile, but we didn't do that. So I'm hopeful, as I say, that we can either move forward with this process or sometime shortly introduce legislation that would allow us to, now that we can, withdraw these services from the police jurisdiction. I think that's the way we make sure we have the resources to provide the services to our own citizens, and will also tend to make people think twice where they're going to live, the city of Mobile or the county. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, let's not tell Birmingham about our great grant writers in public safety, because that is fabulous. And there are parameters on what you can apply for based on how large your population is, and that is every 10 years you're put into a bracket. So that they only got 900,000 and we got 9 million, just big kiddos to the grant writers for public safety that the city of Mobile has under its wings. That's fabulous, and I only see that growing. So I don't buy the argument that there's not money out there. There is lots of federal money out there if you know how to go to get it. And I would say under confidence that once we got into a different bracket, these same individuals, if they don't get attracted elsewhere, will be versed in going after all of that money possible, because that $9 million is probably about the most a city could get in our bracket, I'm guessing at that. And I too think opposite of Councilman Richardson. I respect his position on this, but I'm hoping in the 2-week layover that this council will give this particular initiative, because it is organic, it's pure, it's real, and it's, like I said, I see it as very complimentary. And maybe it's because it's an area I'm very familiar with. I've been out in West Mobile in my home for 40 years, and I've watched that growth. And I'm very much out there and about because I shop out that way and are very familiar with a lot of the neighborhoods out that way. And they look a lot like the neighborhoods that are already in West Mobile in the district that I represent. I hope that the postcard group, and it seems to me, I'm wondering, does the postcard group really want us to grow out west? Because the information they provided certainly gave ammunition to the sense of we shouldn't be doing this because we can't afford it. But I say we can afford it, and we cannot afford not to go forward with that momentum. So I'm hoping in the 2 weeks' time, this administration will give more information about the resources of our Treasury, how it's provided, where it's coming from, and you might be very surprised that it's a lot of it coming from west of I-65. And if there's a way to break that down, it will be helpful, because that growth out that way continues to spark more development, more commercialization, and I have sat on this council for a long time as well, and my office has never said no to tearing down homes in areas that doesn't happen out in District 6, but those resources make our city stronger. And I believe the people that want to come in by virtue of our understanding of our city understand that they have to help produce strength within the borders that they will be part of. And our heartbeat is downtown, our inner city is important. I hate looking at those the photographs from the district, and I can feel for that because of the resources that I know are tucked away that perhaps should be loosened up. I would probably differ with the administration on this budget. I wasn't able to vote on it. But there are resources that we should look at when it comes to quality of life, because quality of life is what brings people to your city and also keeps people in your city. And there are times that government has to produce that quality of life that does not have a payback per se, other than the energy of being a dynamic, sustainable city. So I hope in the 2 weeks we're looking at some more information that is more indicative of what these 3 areas mean when it comes to annexation. And that will help this council make a decision, because we're bringing apples and oranges to the table. We're talking about the whole police jurisdiction, which we know is a very bad hand dealt for us in this city. It's been going on for decades now. So it's not a new problem. It's just grown exponentially because that area has grown. And it's urban now, so it have urban needs. And that's another reason why this group wants to come in. We can give zoning, we can give strategic planning. There is so much a good city can offer its citizens. So I'm hoping we get more information back from the administration. Thank you.
Thank you, President Manzi. Just in the interest of making sure we remain accurate in our statements publicly to address Councilman Richardson's concerns that we have withdrawn fire suppression in these proposed areas of annexation, that is absolutely not correct. We continue to maintain fire suppression activities in all of the proposed areas. The only withdrawal of fire suppression was the Theodore Fire District, and that was a turnover of primary responsibility to Theodore Fire. That was a deliberate action, and it was at the recommendation of myself and Fire Chief Mark Seeley to do that in our quest for ISO 1, which you do understand we were able to obtain. And so I just wanted to make sure that was clear, that these areas are still covered with fire suppression. And it was indeed at my recommendation and the recommendation of the Fire Chief, and only after we consulted the City Council about what our actions were going to be in the Theodore area.
Master Simpson didn't announce a rollback with the fire.
The only withdrawal.
Yes or no? Now, either he announced it or he didn't announce it now. Did he announce to the public that he was rolling back?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
I'll furnish you that. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. I don't, when Councilman Davis made his talk, I didn't have no disagreement. I didn't see no disagreement between him and I. I'm glad we have our legislators here.
Councilman Manzi.
Mr. Ramsey?
I can wait. I can wait.
Right, I got the flow now. Glad that we have our legislators here. Because I don't think you all passed any laws that said that the city has to spend in the jurisdiction anything more than what they take in. I don't think there's not one law say you got to spend $27 million in the jurisdiction. What you spend ought to be commensurate with what you took in. Now, why the city decided they want to spend $27 million out there, I don't have a clue. Because there is no law requiring us to do that. It was something they decided to do. The council didn't vote on it. There's no law on it. We should not be spending no more than at least and a half dollars in the jurisdiction. That's all we taking in. The rest of that money should be spent in here trying to bring crime down, address the issues that Councilman Manzi put up there. We are not required to spend no $27 million out there. It's on our own volition that we take them in. We won't have to spend. We don't have to spend that. There's no law requiring us to go out there and wave all that money at them. We don't have to do it. There's no law that's saying that we got to spend 27, 7, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, none of that in the jurisdiction. We're doing it because we want to do it. We're not doing it for District 1. Meaning we could do it because we're doing it out there. There's no law saying we have to do that. I just want to get that in.
So, Councilman Manzi, first of all, I want to commend you on correcting the issue about the Title I schools. Thank you for that. Number two, so I want to point out to the council and to the general public two things. The reason there hasn't been a rollback for police jurisdictions for other municipalities because that law is relatively new. We were the first to attempt to do so, and so that's probably why you haven't had that affected. The second thing is I want to bring up a point of clarity so that the entire council and the general public understands that when you roll back police jurisdiction to 3 mile into 1.5, what you're doing is, in essence, shrinking the jurisdiction, but you can only annex what's contiguous to the city. So you wouldn't be able to annex what's in that outer rim of the 1.5. I think everybody understands that, but I want to make that clear. And that is a relatively new law where you can shrink it. The third thing I want to point out, and I think the council president has espoused this as much as well, is when you're looking at that rollback that we've discussed both now and in the past, what you're looking at is once you all would vote on that, it wouldn't be effective until much later on because you have to do so by October, and then it would become effective the following January. So just in case anyone's thinking that would happen immediately, that's not something that you could do immediately. There is a time parameter on that. Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, may I speak? You know, it's been said that we're spending money out there because we want to. I think that if you were pointing a finger, you would say because Mayor Stimson wants to. All right, I would suggest that Mayor Jones spent money in the police jurisdiction, Mayor Merrill spent money in the police jurisdiction, and we only continue to doing that. We recognized that we shouldn't be doing that. So we to draw back and cut that number down, and the council decided to thwart that effort. All right, so then we made the decision to, again, lessen the amount of the money that was spent in the police jurisdiction. We withdrew the EMS services, the emergency medical services, and the fire services with the secondary responder instead of the primary responder. So it was because of the withdrawal of the paramedics is what got everybody in an uproar. It was in an effort to quit spending money in the police jurisdiction, and I would suggest that somebody might go to homework about police jurisdictions, because Birmingham does not have a jurisdiction. Huntsville does not have a jurisdiction. Montgomery has a jurisdiction but does not exercise any of the options of the jurisdiction. So we are the only one that we know of our size, that's spending any money in the police jurisdiction. Mr. Richardson said we don't need to spend a dime there. That's what I was trying to do when I offered to roll it back to 1.5 miles. That's what we were trying to do when we pulled the paramedics back, and he has thwarted both of those efforts.
I want to publicly thank any and every person who's associated with the Mobile Policy Forum that disseminated this postcard. Now, this postcard, I think, was just gutter level of politics. To have someone to appear coming into your home, into your domicile, and this appears to be a thief in the night. And then on the other side, the sirens blazing as if there's some impending emergency that won't be answered because Councilman Levon Manzi won't vote for this annexation effort. And then to blast and put my cell number. But I'm not hiding it. It's on my Facebook, it's on my Instagram, it's on the bottom of my emails. So I don't hide it. So that part didn't bother me. It was inaccurate information. But I want to thank them, because in my mind, you woke up sleeping giant. You really did. It's this whole $27 million proposition that I don't think any of us had a full and complete understanding as it relates to this number. I did. Besides Joel, who kept it a secret. Because he's never mentioned any of the finance committee meetings he's chaired, any of the private conversations we had at this dais. Absent Joel, I don't think we were fully appreciative of this number. I have talked with our city council attorney, and I asked her a question. May the council adopt an ordinance restricting the amount spent on providing services to the police jurisdiction? Her answer was yes. If the cost of providing services to the police jurisdiction exceeds the amount of services collected there, then the governing body of the city, in its reasonable discretion, has the right to curtail those services. City of Prattville versus Jonah. Now, it's going to require us to amendments to certain sections of the city code, because City Code 1991 requires the city to provide police and fire protection in the police jurisdiction. Before curtailing those services, we're going to have to amend Section 46.3 and Section 22-11, Section 22-36. And I have instructed her to put legislation on this council's agenda to do just that as quickly and expeditiously as possible. And that's whether this the annexation moves forward or not. Miss Maybe Jack Jones in Plateau, who lives on a harbor street, should not be subsidizing the police, fire, EMS, and any other protection in the police jurisdiction. Birmingham doesn't have it. Huntsville doesn't have it. Montgomery doesn't have it. And I'm going to do my level best to make certain that we don't, what we have is what we're statutorily required to have. $25 million, if you take off the $2 million that has already been saved, $25 million equates to $100 million in a 4-year term. Imagine the things we could do from an infrastructure, recreational, even educational aspect, public safety. Imagine the things we could do with an extra $100 million. We could go into some of these communities that my colleague just featured and totally transform them. We can incentivize a grocery store to come into the Plateau Africatown community. That's a food desert right now. You can't buy Coca-Cola in Africatown. But I am voting to expend $25 million police jurisdiction, and they got Walmart's, Publix, and every other kind of grocery store on every corner. I'm not for it. I'm for laying this over 2 weeks. I'm going to vote for that. I'm going to vote for that. But whether this annexation moves forward or not, I will have legislation on this council's agenda restricting our expenditure to the amount that we're required to expend. What the persons who sit up here do as a result of what we do, their business. They're county residents. And I'm going to coin the phrase of my colleague here to the left. I was elected to look after the interests of the citizens of District 2, as he said he was elected to look out for the interests of the citizens of District 5. And subsidizing, see, they woke a sleeping giant up. A lot of us was just walking around, not really fully aware, but you messed up and gave us the information, and you mailed it to every resident in my district. And I want to also let you know that of the calls I got, 63% of the persons were against what you were proposing. So your scare and fear tactic did not work. I hope this legislation is on the agenda for Tuesday. The mayor's already said he's in favor of it because he proposed it 3 years ago. We voted it down. I have had an evolution. I've had a transformation of my mind. I'm ready to vote for whatever it is you want. I'm going to put it on the agenda. I hope you support me. Roll it back till it's to an inch of what we have to do. And bring the money back into the city limits of the city of Mobile. It's our money. I got communities like Maysville, Down the Bay, Plateau, Tolmanville, in conditions similar to what was proposed up here by, presented up here by Councilman Small. I'm all for waiting 2 weeks. I'm all for it. I'm okay. Let's do that. But in the interim, I'm bringing that legislation. Bring the bacon back to the Mobile. It's sizzling out west. We want to smell it, feel it, eat it in the heart of the city. So again, I want to thank whoever it is that's a part of such a great organization called the Mobile Policy Forum, located 3742 Professional Way. You did a very professional job of waking up a sleeping giant. And now that the giant is up, the giant is going to work. And we're going to bring those resources back into the city limits of the city of Mobile. It may not even be 27 million, whatever the amount is. If it's 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, I want it back in the city. Now let's do what we're required to do. And I know we hear some pain. We're going to hear some, want people to want to have empathy on us. We're going to want people to say that it's not fair. That we need time. I'm for giving time to work with our colleagues on the county commission. I'm not against that. But my solution is there's for sale signs all over my district. I will welcome you with open arms. The people in Plateau will welcome you with open arms. The people in the Old Shell Road area, Old Dolphin Way, all of my communities, I got 19 of them. You can have your choice. You can have all the services and all the increased research we're going to get with this $25 million. Thank you, Mobile Policy Forum, whoever you are. I want to shake your hand and buy you a steak dinner. Because you did me a great favor. And you did the citizens of my district. You did a better job at me than educating them. And I thank you for that. Whoever you are. And wherever you are, and whoever put up the money, it was money well spent. I'm all for the layover. But I will be bringing this legislation forward as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Richardson?
just want to make a quick comment based on what Attorney Ricardo Wood said. Thanking you for correcting me regarding the statement I made about education. We have 3 cameras up here, 3 different news media. We got the print media over here. And I would challenge you all, investigate what I said and report it on TV. Let me tell you what I said. That the State Board of Education, who tests every school every year, every public school, they test them. Reading, writing, on various categories. But they don't rate no schools as failing, not the state. The state does not rate, this is what Fred Richardson is saying, and I got it from the superintendent, that they don't, the state of Alabama is not in the business of rating any of its schools as failing. It's the Title 1 schools that is rated failing. It's the Title 1 schools, and that's what I'm sticking with. And I want you all, if what I'm saying is not put it on the TV, write it in the newspaper.
Yes.
Interview the superintendent, because I got my information from the superintendent. Interview him and see if he'll tell you the same thing. Okay.
Madam Secretary, we're on a
Ready to vote.
discussion. We've had discussion.
Yes.
All in favor of the holdover?
Aye.
All in opposition?
Opposed?
So I heard, I'm assuming 6-1 is what I heard. We will have a 2-week layover. And there's one more comment I want to make about the 2 weeks. I've told the leadership of the annexation group, I've talked with Mayor Stimson. I'm hopeful that this kind of negative propaganda won't emanate over those 2 weeks. I really am, because it's really not helpful at all. Oh, I'm not alleging that it did. I asked Mr. Dale Sawyer whether they were responsible. He told me no. I take at his word. I asked the administration. Told me no. I take them at their word. That's why I don't know who it is, but whoever you are, you call me. Steak dinner at Texas Roadhouse.
Mr. President.
Ma'am?
Mr. President, when she's done.
Yeah, I didn't speak during the discussion period. I think we've probably heard more than enough today on all of this, but I do want to thank you all for coming and for giving us that kind of compliment that you would like to be part of our city. You know, we appreciate that. When people want to be a part of who we are, it really is very positive, and I thank you for all that you have done. It was a grassroots effort. You came to us. We didn't chase after you. So that is always very positive, and I don't want you all to be frustrated by what you've heard here today. You know, what can I say, you know? But I think you know that if we had voted on this today, it would have failed. It still may not pass. I think you are prepared for that, but we are going to take these 2 weeks to try to provide more factual information and try to correct what has gone out, because there has been a lot of misinformation. I think you understand from the council's point of view how much we want to make sure that our districts and all of the needs in our districts are taken care of, and I think their message is that we want to come in and pay full freight for full services, and I think we hear that loud and clear. So maybe in this 2 weeks, you know, some new information will come out, and maybe another company will happen. We'll see. But again, we just really appreciate you all coming and asking part of our city, and we just look forward, in whatever way, working with you all in the future.
100%. Thank you. So good. Absolutely. 08987
and 988 are approving purchase orders for Drive Cam annual subscription and for Court Composite for the Mobile Tennis Center. 21990, authorized contract with American Guard Services for unarmed guard services for Mobile, Alabama Cruise Terminal. 21991, authorized contract with Advanced Media for webcam print social media marketing services to recruit police officers and firefighters. 21992, authorized contract with Delta Flooring for police headquarters records and data entry, flooring, and painting. 21993, authorized contract with Diversified Maintenance for Gulf Quest Maritime Museum janitorial services. 21994, authorized contract with Lease Online for electronic reporting and criminal investigation software support. 25995, grant easement for pole installation in right-of-way on Dolphin Island Parkway. 25996, grant permanent, non-exclusive operation and maintenance easement to Moss. 25997, grant easement to Alabama Power Company for installation of pad-mounted transformer to upgrade lighting for fields A and B in Medal of Honor Park. 21998, authorized MOU with Alabama Administrative Office of Courts for maintaining positions in the circuit and district courts.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items carried.
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 88040.
This ordinance will be laid over 1 week by council rules.
Resolution is being introduced, 03-1001 through 60-1010.
Motion to suspend the rule for immediate consideration for consent resolutions 03-1001 through 60-1010, exception for 37-1004.
Second.
Probably moved and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
03-1001, reappoint Michael Holland to the Infirmary System Special Care Financing Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Passes 6 with 1 abstention.
08-1002, approved purchase order for fuel for Wave Transit. 09-1003, transfer monies from District 2 discretionary account to Parks and Recreation Department for Gospel Fest held October 12th at Rickery Community Center. 40, 1005, 1006, and 1007 are declaring structures at 18 or Lacey Street, 907 Opal Avenue, 714 Roof Street, public nuisances, and ordering them demolished. 60, 1008, 1009, and 1010 are determining expenditures to Windmill Place Homeowners Association, Shackle Free Marketing and Associates, and Quilts of Valor serve a public purpose, and approving payment.
So moved.
Second?
Probably moved and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
CIP resolutions being introduced, 21-1011.
This resolution will be laid over for 1 week for council rules.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 08-1012 through 21-1014.
These resolutions will be laid over for 1 week by council rules.
Announcements. The city council meeting scheduled next week will be held on November the 14th and at its usual time of 9 o'clock pre-meeting and 10:30 regular meeting.
Mr. Williams?
Going along with that announcement, I will not be here next week at all, and I won't answer any emails, phone calls, or texts, regardless of who they're from. Those postcards are addressed from District 5, and I just recommend that you put return to sender on them. Let's see how they handle that. Thank you.
Ms. Gregory?
We are in the process of planning my annual Christmas and holiday meeting for the district. This year, we will be asking residents who come to bring for St. Mary's Home. We'll have a list of needs and wishes to go out on postcards and, of course, through all our social media. So just be looking out for that. It will be in December, of course, at the Mobile Museum of Art, and just be looking out for more information about the meeting and the needs for the children at St. Mary's Home. And that's all.
Vice President Small.
Thank you, Mr. President. Greetings to the citizens of District 3. This coming Thursday, I will be a guest speaker at the BC Rain High School. They're having their annual Veterans Day program, which is the 7th one. And I am privileged to say this is my 7th one speaking. That program will be held this coming Thursday at 9:30 a.m. inside of the gymnasium. The Future Business Leaders of America, they are putting this event on. Again, inviting all citizens, especially veterans, to come out this Thursday, November 7th, 9:30 a.m. For the 7th annual Veterans Day program. And again, I will be the guest speaker. Looking forward to it. Thank you, President Manzi.
No problem. Mr. Daves?
Thank you, sir. I would like to remind everybody of the meeting of the ad hoc committee on the disposition or sale of city-owned real property. That committee is meeting at 2 o'clock, promptly at 2 o'clock this afternoon in the council conference room, where we hope to wind up drafting an ordinance with respect to how these city-owned pieces of real property are to be sold, so that we can have a uniform, transparent, and fair process with respect to these dispositions in the future. When I was a child, which was only about 10 years after the World War had ended, and I would go downtown about this time of year, there would be ladies standing on the street corners selling poppies. And the sale of poppies originated, it's really kind of English tradition, at the end of the First World War, which was a horrible, horrible war. Millions of men were killed on both sides of that conflict. The men were buried in a Belgium called Flanders, and the poppies grew up out of those fields. And so the poppies were used as a kind of remembrance of the sacrifice that had been made by all of those men fighting for their country who had died in that horrible, horrible conflict. The British still do this. If you see photographs this time of year of British leaders, they're all wearing poppies. It's kind of died out in this country. But the remembrance of the sacrifices those men made, and the sacrifices men and women have made throughout our country's history, should never be forgotten. And on Monday we have one of the few opportunities every year we're nudged to remember those sacrifices. And I hope all of us will take an opportunity, not only ourselves, but particularly to share with our children and grandchildren the sacrifices that brave Americans have made throughout the centuries to protect the freedom that we all enjoy. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I say God bless America because we are able to debate the great issues that our city faced with without fear or harassment. This is a great nation to live in, and I appreciate all of the freedoms that is accorded to all of our citizens. I would like to thank the citizens living along the Florida Street corridor between Spring Hill and Dolphin Street. We've had a drainage project going on over there for far more than 2 years, and it has disrupted those businesses over there. Many of them was on the brinks of closing, and my understanding is now that project is scheduled to end by the end of next week. They ought to be through with that project and out of there. And I'm meeting with one of the business owners over there to use his property. we are going to celebrate as soon as they get all that equipment out of there. We're going to schedule a celebration over there, and we're going to have us a good time. But for all of the residents over there, thank you for your patience. We are coming to the end of all of this. Hopefully by the end of next week, that nightmare will be over.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to tell the citizens in District 6 that a district meeting is in the planning stages, looking at next month or early in the first of the year. But again, that's something that will be, the topic will be public safety. If people have any idea what else they would like on the agenda, I'm open to that. But I know that public safety is on people's minds. And so I'll work with the administrator to have the right people present. And again, those dates will be forthcoming to get on your calendar. Tonight I'm going to United Methodist Church to meet the Cub Scouts. I'm looking forward to that. And again, I appreciate everybody taking the next 2 weeks to get more quality information. And I know that the idea of how much it costs to do public safety services out into our jurisdiction, we might not want to blend those two arguments together. For this group that touches our border, looks a lot like us, already shop in corridors that are citizens that are paying their 10% sales tax, and also some future commercial corridor that is not in the city limits that could come in when we take these residents in. I think I've already said how much I think it's a plus for our future and sustainability. So I hope these numbers can be looked at a lot different, and I do hope the people responsible for the postcard does not try anything like that again. I'm almost thinking their motive was to see it not happen based on how that postcard read, or postcards. So I'm, kind of disappointed if they thought they were helping, because by no means do I see it as a help to this council who has to make this decision. So thank you, and thanks to all the citizens. They're not here anymore, but that came down. And as Ms. Gregory said, that it truly is a compliment to know they want to be part of us, and I hope we accept them. Thanks.
Start my comments by saluting our state senator. She does a yeoman's job in Montgomery. I've had an opportunity to be there and with her in action. She's not just sitting at her desk, twiddling her thumbs, allowing the majority to just do this or that. She's very vocal, vehement, and she's responsive. And she has been a help of not only her husband, the whole family have been a big blessing to the city of Mobile. I want to say that for the record, if you don't mind, Ms. Atlanta. I'd be remiss if I didn't salute Reverend Dr. Clennell Johnson. As a young fellow, 12, 13, 14 years old, I had opportunity to sit on that second seat there as with the youth council and watch him in a very proficient and professional way be president of this council for 8 years. And to have been blessed with the opportunity to follow in his footsteps is not something that I take lightly. I appreciate this council, but I appreciate him for being a mentor, not only from a political standpoint, but from a pastoral standpoint. And I want to say that publicly. People like myself have these opportunities because of trailblazers like Clennell Johnson Sr., and I want that added to the record as well. In my office, and I'm moving, but the first thing I moved was this ceramic dog. It's a bulldog, English bulldog, that my dad named Ayatollah. And we called him Tola, because this is the kind of dog I wanted. I always wanted an English bulldog, but I did not have the time to really put into one. So one of my former principals, after I left the council, Ms. Marva Carter, who lives in District 2, purchased this dog for me because she said, you are a bulldog for District 4 on the school board. You go downtown and be a bulldog District 2. And I am the bulldog. And I won't be bullied by any group, any postcard, any other politician. I'm the voice for District 2. and I'm listening. I'm gonna take 2 more weeks to listen further. Now, I've heard what you said up to now, and was ready to do what you wanted up to now, but I'm willing to give it 2 more weeks. But if you come in my office, the first thing you see is Ayatollah. Ayatollah can't bite, Ayatollah can't do nothing, but I can. And I will not be bullied. And I want to put that on the record as well, Ms. Lamb. I will not be bullied. Any further comments from members of the council?
Mr. President, before we go, when you're talking not being bullied, I think that is a lesson for anybody in the community who thinks that that type of tactic works, because as you see, it has a complete negative impact on those of us who are bullied. So just please keep that in mind as we go forward with this. I appreciate the 2 weeks. Don't know that it will make any difference one way or the other, but I think within 2 weeks, if nothing else, maybe we can get some more information put together so that all are better informed about what is out there and what the information truly is. And before I leave, I do want to say a thank you to Clint Johnson, who was the president of the city council when I moved to Mobile, and I had the pleasure of serving with him for a couple of terms on the city council itself. Vivian, oh my goodness, she was on the council when I first moved to Mobile as well, and I remember well the election, the campaign for when you ran for state senate. I was right there covering it, and I remember some sort of parade that we had. You were riding in the back of a convertible, and do you remember that? It's a long time ago. But just to say that we go way back, and I really appreciate you all being here. And for the leadership, of course, Vivian still provides for us in the state, and Clint, you know so much. Just talking to you, you're just a wealth of information, so thank you very much.
Absolutely, Madam State Senator.
We'll break all the rules.
A forever honorary council member,
All
remember
right.
that? But, well, Bess remembers that. Now, I just want to say, it's not often I can come down here, but I really say what I witnessed today, I'm so very proud of all of you. Being in the state senate, we have a supermajority, so I know what it feels like when things are sort of like pushed down your throats, when your voice is not really heard or really given that respect. And I believe no matter who the minority is, we all have that right to be heard, and that's what I love about the Zagabe Act that my husband worked so tirelessly on, to make sure that all people in the city of Mobile had a voice and that they will keep that voice. And I know from meeting with the mayor and talking with the mayor, he has given me his word that he would never fight that supermajority stance in that law. And I was so happy to hear that, because we don't know who the minority is going to be at any point in time. So everybody should always be assured that they're going to have that voice. I'm so happy to see that you all carry over the annexation vote as well. I've learned through 26 years being in elective office, 3 on the council and 23 in the that so many times through adversity, so many positive things can be accomplished. And I've also learned that you do need the time to get all of the facts and the figures. I like to hear all sides, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And from those sides, you will come up with other questions that you need to help you make the right decision that you feel in your heart serves the best interests of all the people of Mobile. You're elected from your various districts, but you are responsible for the entire citizenship of the city of Mobile. So I know that you're going to come out with positive things with this. Whether it will pass or not, I don't know. You will make that decision, and I'm not asking you to go one way or the other. But just take everything into consideration and make the best of it for all of the citizens of Mobile. And I just ask God to cover each of you and your families with his richest blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll keep breaking the rules.
I had not intended to do that. You see that both Senator Figurs and I are afraid of people, so we waited until the room cleared before we came. I'll just say something very briefly. I sat there and have to admit I appreciate the level of passion and focus each of you have about the issues that come before you, on which you must make decisions, hopefully in the best interest of our city. I know that there is a struggle regarding this issue. There's a diversity of perspective. I'm hoping that the environment will evolve into one of significant communication from all levels. And that will be a look of trust that calls people to come forward with their best effort in order to move the city. I believe that confrontation prevents confrontation. And it's very important that people communicate and work together. So many of you I've worked with and I love always. And so I can understand the struggle there is in trying to address volatile issues and in trying to make the best decision. You have been elected to make those decisions, and those of us who are citizens will respect your right to make those decisions in order that you see fit. I'm delighted and hopeful that the previous move, I think, to come together in some way to present a positive picture to not only the city for persons who may be interested in impacting us economically. I think that was a powerful move. It sent a resounding message throughout our community, and those of you who took that initiative and faced that challenge, I want to commend you for having done so. Lastly, I've said this to the mayor, and so I said to you. My days on the council, and it was a lot of days of 24 years, it was rare that we were unaware of agenda items. We had a unique kind of communication that these meetings most times went across quietly. And we kept certain focuses out of the public arena to impress a positive impact upon the city. And that's back to my saying communication at all levels. You have one government. That's all we have. It happens to have two perspectives of leadership, the council and the mayor. One cannot be effective without the other. So I'm confident and I'm hopeful that there will be a coming together of the hearts and of the minds, and this city will be blessed like never before. And I was with this. In 1985, when I was elected, I spoke at an organization that was just starting out called Alabama New South Coalition. And I made this observation, that Mobile was a city of perpetual potential. And people ran with that all over the city. I'll just say, let's make sure that we realize our potential and not perpetuate it. And I believe we got the people to do just that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Your hat, Dr. Johnson, you left your hat there.
Mr. President?
Ma'am,
In case anybody, guess who my boss is?
See, my boss. I'm on your side, Doc.
Mr. President, I would like to take this opportunity to thank 3 of the council members that were here when I was hired as the assistant city clerk, which was he was president at the time, Reverend Clinton Johnson, and Senator Figurs, and council member. So thank you so much. You are the reason that I'm here where I am.
We were back here.
You said you owe us.
I didn't say that.
That's okay. She's still getting compliments, too.
right.
You noticed when she was complimented today, unsolicited. So we know it was a right decision.
We're getting ready to go. I want to recognize a District 2 resident and my friend, Brother Harry Lee Austin Jr. Thank you, Brother Harry. He's my campaign manager. He's a good man. I appreciate Brother Harry Lee Austin. I want that to record too,
Mr. President.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, my granddaughter Maya Lawson is up there. Maya stayed the whole, I had no idea she was coming down here. She wanted to be here with her granddaddy. She figured it was going to be a contentious meeting, and she wanted to be my right hand. So she came down, and she stayed through all of it.
All right, Maya. All right. Now, okay, we want to recognize George Talbot, who's taking the report back. Take it back good now, especially what Clint Johnson said. Consultation prevents confrontation.
That's what he said.
That's what he said now. Would you take that back? Do I hear a motion? To adjourn. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Nobody, yeah. Nobody opposes, no opposers.
2 o'clock. What time is it now? Oh, my goodness. Yeah.